hairpin. In fact, some of them have come close to rolling over, even without clipping the tyres on the inside. So Panis now being chased by Herbert. Number 3, that's Panis. Flicks it into the top hairpin. And he's got Johnny Herbert right behind him. Then Jean-Philippe Belloc, then Emmanuel Collard. But meanwhile, ahead of this little group, it's still Olivier Grillard, who's been competing very successfully in the GT series this year. Has won 3 of the BPR GT races, and also has been doing some commentating for Eurosport as well. So Grillard been busy behind the steering wheel and behind the microphone, and he's there just ahead of Olivier Panis. Panis closing up towards him. Then it's Johnny Herbert. But up front, remember, it's still Patrick Lemarrier from Xavier Pompidou. Name's not quite so familiar as Johnny Herbert and René Arnoux or Olivier Panis, but very successful French drivers. Now we've got a battle. Look at this, Olivier Panis. Oh, he's gone down the inside of Grillard, and Johnny Herbert goes past Grillard as well. And so the space that Panis managed to make there was enough for Johnny to go through. Has a little look down the inside as they come back into the stadium. And now, oh, Grillard's off. Grillard has made contact with Belloc. They both keep going, and there you go. There's the advantage of having the clutch, no stalled engine. They managed to rejoin, and both of them are still in the race. So René Arnoux, number 12, he's in 3rd place. Olivier Panis is now in 4th position. Johnny Herbert in 5th. And somebody's off, number 41, Nicolas Frank. Looks as though he's had some sort of mechanical problem. But Olivier Panis, real good, aggressive racing this from Panis. Still to hear the final confirmation that he will be driving for Ligier, but it's looking very likely now. And in fact, speaking to him earlier, he was looking pretty confident. He's testing next week, and it does look as though Olivier Panis will be one of the drivers at Ligier for 1996. There was talk of Ligier bringing in Gilles de Ferran from IndyCar Racing, but that doesn't look so likely now. And Olivier Panis, we don't know yet who his teammate will be, but it could possibly be another driver who's competing here this weekend, Vincenzo Sospiri. He's certainly in the frame for it, and we'll be seeing a bit more of him, hopefully, a little bit later. But for the moment, let's concentrate on this battle. René Arnoux, 3rd place, number 12. Then Olivier Panis, 4th place, number 3. And now he's closed up behind René Arnoux. Arnoux, who now, in fact, runs a kart circuit in Paris, an indoor kart track where you can go along and have a go at karting like so many people do in all over Europe now. And oh, Panis has gone down the inside. And he's gone too wide this time. Oh, contact. Herbert makes contact with Panis. And I just hope that there's no damage done to the kart, because this race is great between them all. But now Olivier Panis, in fact, Collard's come through. Emmanuel Collard now right behind Olivier Panis. And so this is more good racing, with Collard taking advantage of that little incident. Panis went up the inside of Arnoux, ran too wide. Johnny Herbert tried to take advantage of that, ended up making contact, and Emmanuel Collard slipped past. So perhaps making up for the disappointment of not making up earlier. 5 laps to go then in this first semi-final. It's a 20-lap race in all. And René Arnoux will be beginning to feel it after the practice sessions they had earlier on today. He was having a little bit of physio already then, massaging his forearms, which tend to pump up a little bit like oh, Collard's gone very wide there. Panis makes a mistake as well. And now Herbert's got another chance. Look at these 3. Oh, this got to end in tears, surely. Panis and Collard side by side. Herbert's trying to go past at the same time. Herbert's gone down the inside. He could get past both of them here. I think he has. Johnny Herbert's gone past both of them. Olivier Panis and Emmanuel Collard, both battling so hard that they let Johnny Herbert go through. And it's all changed once again. So René Arnoux holds on to 3rd. Herbert's now 4th, trying not to go into that hairpin too fast. Jumping up and down in the seat, that's not through pure excitement. That is actually, there is a reason to that. They're trying to lift the weight off the seat to get the momentum of the kart to pick up as quickly as possible out of the slow corners. So it looks as though they're leaping around in excitement, but in fact there is a real valid reason for them to jump around in the seat. Helps the kart pick up out of the corner. But now Johnny Herbert has to go chasing after René Arnoux. Now we've seen this group already manage to catch Arnoux. So can they do it again? We haven't got much time to go. There's our race leader, Patrick Lemarrier, number 31. But this is the battle that we must watch, surely. Emmanuel Collard, test driver for Formula One this year. And Benetton test driver. He's also just been testing the Jordan, in fact. Just this last week, he's been driving the Jordan Peugeot. Onto the last lap. It looks like Patrick Lemarrier is going to win this first semi-final. Can't see Xavier Pompidou. He's dropped back a little bit, but I presume he's still there in second place. We'll have to wait to see. Watch out for the number 29 car behind him. Looks as though he was just in the background there. Been a great drive this from Patrick Lemarrier, the runner-up in the French Formula 4 Championship this year. There he comes through to take the first win in the semi-final. There is Pompidou in second. Who's going to be in third? Is it going to be René Arnoux? And who's going to be in fourth? We want to see the line. We want to see who's in that next group. There is Arnoux, there's Johnny Herbert, and there's Emmanuel Collard. So Arnoux finishes third, Herbert finishes fourth, and Collard takes fifth. And a little shake of hands there. Great racing between those three. And Olivier Panis there as well, shaking hands with Johnny Herbert. And that's what karting's all about. That's what Bercy indoor karting is all about. And some superb action. There's Xavier Pompidou with Patrick Lemarrier. And first and second in this semi-final. They've got to try and do that again in the final. But before that, we've got another semi-final coming up. We've got Gianni Morbidelli, Jean-Christophe Bouillon amongst those competing in the next semi. There's the results of the first, though. Patrick Lemarrier, winner from Xavier Pompidou. Third place to René Arnoux. Looking further on down, no such luck for Olivier Grouillard on this occasion, but we'll be back in a moment with the second semi-final action that we had earlier on this evening before we get into the second semi-final. This was from the last quarter-final. Jean-Christophe Bouillon leading from Luca Badoa at this point, but we saw some great battles. Badoa making a mistake here and losing out, with Mika Salo diving past and Vincenzo Sospiri then going past both of them as well. Well, that wasn't the end of it. Salo and Sospiri then proceeded to entertain us with some great racing until this moment, when Mika Salo ended up on his bonds. This clash between the two of them, seeing Mika Salo roll over, Vincenzo Sospiri go out of the race as well. But Salo able to pick himself up. Take another look from it, dive down the inside. The rear wheel ran over the rear wheel of Sospiri, flicked him over, and a fairly hefty landing onto the tarmac. But Salo okay after that, and we should be seeing him hopefully in the next semi-final if they've depends how they've allowed the qualifying, but I think that they will have allowed both Salo and Sospiri to go through to the semi-final. Well, these are some of the other highlights from the racing we've had, and that's of course the moment that we had in that last semi-final. Now there's the problem for Johnny Herbert at the beginning. You can see he got pushed out very wide indeed. The number 25 car that squeezed him out was Jean-Philippe Belloc, and that's really what cost him so much time early on. Let's just enjoy some of these slow motion pictures. Superb camera work from Bercy, really showing us what the karting is all about. The second semi-final coming up now from Bercy to finalise the lineup for the final itself, and it's Gianni Morbidelli on pole position for this one, number 4, a little Italian racing for the Arrows team during 1995 And here he is on pole position. Alongside him, we've got Jean-Christophe Bouillon, the Sauber driver from this season, Williams test driver as well. Behind them, we've got two very quick French drivers. David Terrien, former world champion in karting in Formula A, and Alexandre Jeanneret, who's been racing in French Formula 3 for the last couple of seasons, a former French Formula 4 champion. We've also got Luca Badoa in this one. Watch out for number 7. And also towards the back, after problems in the quarterfinal, Pedro Lamy, number 8. We've got Eric van der Poel as well, Roberto Moreno and Yannick Dalmas. But we do not have Mika Salo or Vincenzo Sospiri. Our initial list had indicated that they would be qualifying for this semi-final, but it turns out that they have not been allowed to qualify for the semi after that incident. So that's a shame. We're not going to be seeing them in this semi-final, and unless we get an extra last chance race, then we won't see them in the final. Of course, there's still another day to go, so they'll have their chance perhaps on the second day's competition. Still on the warm-up laps here at the moment to get everybody assembled together. Some more quick French drivers in this. Guillaume Gomez, he's been racing in Formula 3000 this year. He's number 23, been racing for the Paul Stewart Racing team, or rather for the, not for Paul Stewart Racing, for one of the other teams in Formula 3000. Bit of a disappointing season though this year for Guillaume Gomez, no doubt about that. He was hoping for better things. There's a quick look at the grid. And another of the quick French drivers, Sébastien Enjolras. So round they come then, onto the starting grid. Roberto Moreno there at the back. There's Van der Poel as well, number 16. Moreno with that bright yellow crash helmet. Watch out for him. Yeah, a bit of an accident in his quarter-final, hence in so far back, and away we go then. Clean start from Gianni Morbidelli, and away he goes. Now, he had a great race in his quarter-final with David Terrien. Watch out for the Frenchman, number 35, because he was a real star in the quarter-final, past Morbidelli, then Morbidelli was able to get back past him again. So, watch for the same perhaps. He's in third place at the moment, Terrien. Second place is Jean-Christophe Bouillon. Bouillon was also very quick, and it's quite, oh, there's troubles. 34, Alexandre Jeanneret. A spinner into that top hairpin, and look at this, Morbidelli's been passed by Bouillon. So a change of the lead. Jean-Christophe Bouillon goes ahead, and Gianni Morbidelli back to second. David Terrien's in third. Then it looks like Luca Badoa is in fourth place, number 7. But there's a bit of a gap developing between the top 3, and Badoa in fourth position already. Morbidelli takes a quick look over his shoulder. Bouillon trying to open up an advantage. David Terrien, that is, in third place, who was racing in the French Formula 4 Championship this year, but a very successful kart driver before that, and looks so smooth on the kart. Very economical style, and he's now right behind Morbidelli, but Bouillon taking advantage of this to pull away slightly. There is Badoa, fourth position. And there, number 23 is Guillaume Gomez. He got tangled up in that opening gambit as Terrien has a little look down the inside. Couldn't quite find a way past Morbidelli. And Jean-Christophe Bouillon has the problem of coming up to a back marker so early on in this race. But Gomez, now that he's got out of that tangle he was in earlier on, is going just about as fast as Bouillon anyway. So it's not going to be easy for Bouillon to get past here. Morbidelli and Terrien close together. Then Badoa. Badoa's been one of the fastest here today in the practice sessions, but so for that matter has Morbidelli. So Bouillon's got past Gomez safely. Gomez, remember, running at the back of the field, keeping a check on over his shoulder to make sure he's not holding anybody up. There's Morbidelli and David Terrien right in his wheel tracks. So can Terrien dive up the inside? Is the hairpin? Yes, he's gone up the inside. He's gone through, I think. Yep. Number 35, David Terrien into second place. So now he goes chasing after Jean-Christophe Bouillon. And Badoa is closing up as well. Battle of the Italians. Gianni Morbidelli versus Luca Badoa. Badoa, who was racing for Minardi, of course, throughout the 1995 season. And looks set to continue with the team. That's what he's hoping to do, but still not confirmed as yet for Minardi for 96. And still many drivers in Formula 1 waiting to find out exactly what they'll be doing next season. Jean-Christophe Bouillon, one of those as well, leading this race, number 6. He's not going to be driving for Sauber next year, and we still don't know who is going to be driving alongside Frentzen at Sauber. Still no news yet, whether it be Johnny Herbert or Marc Blundell. Those two, looks to be between those two for the decision, but Johnny Herbert, speaking earlier today, still not sure exactly what's going to happen there. But back to the race, and Morbidelli in 3rd place now, coming under increasing pressure from Luca Badoer. David Terriens now trying to find a way past Guillaume Gomez. There is Morbidelli, number 4. Luca Badoer, number 7. And Jean-Christophe Bouillon, so far, having a fairly comfortable ride up front. Oh, Gomez in trouble, moving out of the way and into the pits, in fact. So Guillaume Gomez, well, that takes him out of the equation in terms of holding up the leaders. We've now got the top 4 running in clean air. And there we can see them all together virtually. Luca Badoer at the back of the group with the yellow crash helmet. Well, Badoer's another one with a great karting career behind him, but hasn't managed to do a lot of practice or testing for this event. Some of the drivers kart quite regularly. Of course, Michael Schumacher, one of the main ones for that, uses karting as a form of relaxation and enjoyment, and keeps up the karting all the way through the year when he gets time. But most of the others don't keep up the karting quite as regularly as perhaps Schumacher does. Now look at this, up front we've got a closer battle between Bouillon and Terriens. David Terriens with the blue crash helmet in 2nd place, slightly paler blue than Gianni Morbidelli. And now Terriens looking for a way past Bouillon. There we are, there's the battle for the lead. 35, that's David Terriens, young man with a great future ahead of him. Speaks good English. He was a guest of Elf, in fact, at the Canadian Grand Prix this year, David Terriens. All part and parcel of Elf's commitment, and there he goes up the inside. Oh, he's gone too wide, and Bouillon straight back past him. Good racing once again. Bouillon left the door open. Terriens took advantage, but went in too fast, and both giving each other enough room to enable the repass to be made, and Bouillon back in front. So now Terriens has to try and find another way of getting past. This the maximum speed they build up to, coming up into the hairpin here. Heavy braking, then back on the power. And now Terriens really applying the pressure. Bouillon looking fairly unfazed, but oh, Terriens got the inside line there, and he goes through. Well, that's amazing to get past there. Great exit out of that final hairpin, and to be able to get the inside line there. Well, Terriens flies past. I wonder if Bouillon's got a little bit of a problem, because suddenly didn't seem to have the acceleration that we saw before. And David Terriens now leads ahead of all these Formula One stars. Great stuff for an 18-year-old whose motor racing career really only just beginning in terms of a single-seater career. And look at that, he's ahead of Bouillon, he's ahead of Morbidelli, he's ahead of Luca Badoer. Not a bad thing to have on your CV. Of course, Terriens' karting career only finished last year, so he has the advantage in that respect. He's much more used to karting. Oh, and there's contact between Badoer and Morbidelli. Badoer spins out, and he tried a late braking manoeuvre down the inside there. Picks the kart up. Is he going to be able to rejoin? Oh, and somebody else is out. That looks like Bouillon. Bouillon's out, and Morbidelli as well has crashed into him. Several have gone past, and suddenly it's all gone to pieces for that battle. Up front, David Terriens managed to stay out of trouble, but behind him, mayhem. And suddenly there's a huge gap behind David Terriens as all his rivals have disappeared. We saw Jean-Christophe Bouillon spin out. Morbidelli collected him just as they went through the tunnel, going back out into the corridors in the back part of this Bercy Stadium. And suddenly it all looks Very much easier for David Terrien. No pressure at all on him. We wonder where everyone else has got to after those moments. I think Morbidelli rejoined. 3 laps to go still. There is Morbidelli. He's ahead of Bouillon. So still in there. Stéphane Sarrazin also there, number 28. So he's managed to join in. Looks like Roberto Moreno behind them as well, although he seemed to have had problems at the beginning of the race. Oh, and that's Bouillon, I think. Yes, Jean-Christophe Bouillon's had another spin. So he drops further back down the order once again. Morbidelli, I think, is now back up in, he's either second or third, maybe I'll be in third position now. So still due to qualify for the final itself. And what a race this has been, up and down. There's Pedro Lamy just flashing through the picture. We haven't seen much of him in this race. Started pretty much at the back after problems in his quarter-final. And on to the last lap then for David Terrien. And it looks as though he's going to take the win in the second semi-final. And it means that we're going to have young French drivers really dominating the front part of the grid for the final itself. Terrien just has to complete the last few corners, and there he is, Terrien, the winner of the second semi-final. It looks like Franck Montagny took second position in the end, ahead of Gianni Morbidelli in third place. So he managed to come through, Morbidelli, after all of those problems. Stéphane Sarrazin taking fourth position. But David Terrien, the winner. And delighted about that. Quite experienced here at Bercy. He's raced at each of the Bercy karting events. But this is really the first time that he's been in the same competition as the Formula One drivers. In the past, he's been in separate competitions for the kart racers themselves. So that really is a great moment for him. Some of the action, that was at the beginning. Alexander Jeanneret getting involved in that incident at the top hairpin. And then we had the battles going on up front. Problems for Guillaume Gomez. Retirement for him. Then Terrien taking the lead from Jean-Christophe Bouillon. Only to be repassed on the exit. Terrien finally getting down the inside into the long sweeper. Gianni Morbidelli then chasing after Bouillon. Then Luca Badoa crashing into Morbidelli.
Bon, j'espérais au pire rester à ma place et puis essayer de grappiller des places. Vu ma demi-finale, je savais que ça allait très vite et que je pouvais faire quelque chose. J'ai attaqué à fond. J'ai réussi à doubler tous mes concurrents. Et puis quand j'étais en tête, je sais pas.
So David Terrien saying that the car going very well in this semi-final. Seemed to be going better and better, and he was able to get past the main rivals. And it's great to have the support of the crowd here. Really is a superb venue. And there we see the result. David Terrien, winner from Franck Montagny, but Morbidelli's there in third place, and Jean-Christophe Bouillon took sixth position in the end. Luca Badoa, well, with those problems, ending up in 12th place. The grid with Patrick Lemarrier now back in position on the number 31 car. It did take some time to get his car repaired after the problems on the first start for this final, but he's now back in position and we're ready to get the race underway. We saw the problems when we tried to get the race going the first time. Johnny Herbert involved, in fact several drivers all getting tangled up in the first corners. Well, they're just on the warm-up laps at the moment, remember, getting some heat into the tyres. This brand new tarmac surface that's laid especially for this event. Remember, we're in the Bercy Stadium. This is the same place where you've seen ice skating, you've seen windsurfing, you've seen all manner of events go on here at Bercy in the past, here on Eurosport. We had the sumo wrestling not that long ago. Now it's indoor karting. It really is incredible what they can put on at this stadium. They lay down this tarmac surface in just a few days. They run the kart racing on it, and then it's all taken up again at the end of the weekend. Right, here we go then. The final's underway, and this time we get a proper start, I think. Now then, can everybody get through the first few corners? Lemarrier gets squeezed out. Oh, a bit more contact there. René Arnoux gets squeezed out, hits the wall. Johnny Herbert dives down the inside. And that's a good start from Herbert, but can he make it through safely? Oh, he's side by side with Arnoux. Could be dangerous. And this is already proving to be fairly frantic. There is David Terrien leading ahead of Franck Montagny in second place. Then the battle behind them going on, and it looks as though everybody's managed to make it round so far. Gianni Morbidelli's at the back of this lead group. He's behind Patrick Lemarrier, number 4. So Morbidelli's the first of the Formula 1 drivers. Then René Arnoux lying in 5th place. Then Johnny Herbert in 6th position. Up front, though, it's the battle between David Terrien and Franck Montagny. Morbidelli looking for a way into 3rd place. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead. Terrien having to defend that. Morbidelli goes through. Morbidelli's into 3rd. And, oh, Jean-Christophe Bouillon. That would look fairly brave piece of overtaking from the Frenchman. He dived up the inside, but I don't know quite whether he got through safely. We'll have to look in the background in a moment. Morbidelli then in 3rd place, chasing after Terrien and Montagny. Those two fighting, so they're not managing to get away quite as quickly as they would have hoped. Behind this lead quartet, then we've got René Arnoux trying to hold off Johnny Herbert. Herbert looking for the inside, I think there. We can't quite see it. Oh, and somebody was wide. Was that Johnny Herbert? Can't see in the background there. Have to wait until they come back into view to see whether Johnny Herbert got... Oh, I think he lost out, in fact. I think there may have been contact between him and Arnoux, and I think he may well have dropped further back down the order. Top 4, Terrien and Montagny, top 2 at the moment, and they're battling for the lead. Montagny has the inside. Oh, they make contact. Oh, and they're both stopped. They both stopped, and Morbidelli is leading. Gianni Morbidelli leads, and those two Frenchmen took each other out. They're still in the race, but there, number 4 is Gianni Morbidelli leading now, ahead of Patrick Lemarrier. David Terrien's down to 3rd. Montagny's down to 4th. And further back, René Arnoux is still running. Well, where is Johnny Herbert? Can't see where he is at the moment. So, Xavier Pompidou, in fact, has got past Arnoux. Pompidou, number 29. Oh, there's Johnny. He's out of it. You could just see him lifting the cart out. And it looks as though it's the end of his evening's entertainment. So, that's a shame. There's Arnoux. Couldn't quite see who's behind him at the moment. So quickly you can't spot them in time. But up front, Gianni Morbidelli said thank you very much when they all got into a tangle at this corner. Now Montagny goes past Lemarrier. Number 40 slips past. Number 23, Guillaume Gomez, in trouble again. He's not having a very lucky evening's racing so far. Fastest lap, though, for Stéphane Sarrazin. He's a little further back, number 28. So we'll have to keep an eye out for him. Meanwhile, though, Gianni Morbidelli still leads this one. So, 2nd is Terrien, 3rd Montagny, number 40. 4th Patrick Lemarrier, there he is, number 31. 5th place Xavier Pompidou. 6th place is René Arnoux. Somebody's lost their number plate, but that really doesn't matter too much. So Morbidelli really has opened up quite a lead now. Look at this, great stuff from Morbidelli. Remember, he had a great end to the season in Adelaide with that 3rd place in the footwork kart, and that was his best ever Formula 1 finish. And the first podium for the Arrows team for a long time. Superb way to the end of the season. And now Morbidelli is leading here at Bercy. It's not quite the same, but still, that's exactly where he wants to be. And leading ahead of these rapid young Frenchmen who've all just stepped out of kart racing only recently. Most of them are now in single-seater racing, but their karting careers only 1 or 2 years ago. So much more familiar territory for them. Terrien, Montagny, Lemarrier, and then Xavier Pompidou. And this, the main focus of the race at the moment, to see whether we can get any changes. That damage to the front of Montagny's kart. A little bit of bodywork damage, but that really is just a plastic bodywork at the front there. It doesn't have any structural significance. More for the aesthetics than for the strength of the kart itself. The kart's strength comes from its metal frame, tubular frame that makes up the chassis of the kart, and the plastic body covering there really just for effect, and also a little bit of protection as well when they start racing hard. Now, we're seeing a situation here that we saw in the quarter-final. Gianni Morbidelli leading, David Terrien beginning to close, beginning to catch up. We saw exactly the same in the quarter-final. Terrien was able to catch Morbidelli on that occasion. He did get past, only for Morbidelli to retake him with just one lap to go. Morbidelli looks over his shoulder, sees Terrien closing up. He's been in this situation before, and can he hold him off? There's still a long way to go in this race yet. We've still got many laps to go, and Morbidelli now coming under pressure from the young Frenchman. So, can Morbidelli hold him off? There's going to be a lot longer to try and hold him off than it was in the quarter-final. It was only about a lap on that occasion when Terrien managed to catch Morbidelli. Terrien has a quick look behind him. That's important. He needs to know whether he's got a space behind him, so that if he launches an attack on Morbidelli and it goes wrong, he's not going to lose out with somebody else coming past him. So he can afford to have a go, try and get past Morbidelli. Even if he loses time, he shouldn't lose that second place, and he should then be able to close up again. So, now we really have got a great battle for the lead. Gianni Morbidelli versus David Terrien in the final here on the first day at Bercy. The gap back to third place is big enough for Terrien to really start attacking Morbidelli now. Cross the line to complete another lap. And the fastest lap for David Terrien, the man in second place. He is flying, and Morbidelli cannot quite match his pace, but he's in front. And Morbidelli will now have to start protecting his line. Is he going to go up the inside? No. I wondered if Morbidelli might protect the inside line into that hairpin. That seems to be the favourite overtaking opportunity. Although Morbidelli overtook Terrien here early on in the quarter-final, so it can be done elsewhere. Gap back to Montagny really has grown now. 10 laps to go then. A long way. And if Morbidelli can withstand this sort of pressure for 10 laps, then that really would be something. I think Terrien's just waiting, looking for the right moment. He knows he's got the speed advantage. The thing is to find the right moment where he's not going to throw it all away. We saw what happened earlier when he and Montagny tangled at that top hairpin, ended up losing several places. Well, Terrien's come back from that now, but he doesn't want to make a mistake. I think he's just waiting, you know. He's waiting for that mistake from Morbidelli. You see, he's not going for that inside into the hairpin. Slides it. That's a great corner coming into the stadium section there. They're really coming back in at high speed, braking. Remember, the brakes on these karts operating just on the rear axle, so it kicks the back end of the kart out. And it looks very, very dramatic. Now then, opportunity here? No. Terrien stays behind. Waits, watches. Tries to concentrate on building the gap. There, in fact, he lost a bit of time. Lost a bit of ground to Morbidelli there. But the main thing is, if he can stay behind Morbidelli, not try and challenge him for a few laps, then they'll further extend their gap between themselves and the guy in third place. That's really what the important thing is at this moment. Not to try and take the lead, to slow themselves down and then make it a four-way battle for the lead. He wants to keep it a two-way battle for the lead. The worst he can end up then is second. That's a quick corner coming out into the corridors. It's really, as Mika Salo said earlier, in fact, talking to him, he said it's a little bit like racing a street circuit, because you're right up against the barriers all the time. You get it wrong, you don't just go over a curb, you're into the tyres or you're into the straw bales around the side of the circuit. So it really is like street racing, but on karts. And it needs a very, very accurate, clinical driving style to get the best out of it. So 5 laps to go, and Morbidelli still has the advantage. But Terrien still looks as though he's just waiting for that ideal moment to get past. Let's wait and see. Let's watch how Terrier tries to deal with Morbidelli. Look how close he is now. Heras close right up behind him. And surely he's going to challenge him through this quick one. Now they're onto the long straight. Is he going to go for the inside up into the hairpin? Not quite close enough this time. Stays behind Morbidelli for this lap. Back into the stadium. The lap's ticking away now. He's got to start putting a move on Morbidelli. Morbidelli a little wide on the exit of that hairpin. So that gives Terrier the chance to close up once again. This is great stuff. 3 laps to go. Thinking all the time, the driving has to be automatic. It's the tactics. Morbidelli, that always got him tighter. Oh, and Terrier gets alongside, but it's not enough. Now that was interesting. Morbidelli now starts to shut the door. He knows they're getting towards the end of the race. Terrier's chance is to get down the inside. If Morbidelli covers that inside, then Terrier does not have the opportunity. Morbidelli's thinking ahead here. Now then, not long to go through the quick left. Long straight, up to the hairpin again. Morbidelli covers the inside line. That makes it hard for Terrier. Oh, and they're side by side again on the exit, but again Morbidelli just has it. Oh, and 1 lap to go. Now then, can Morbidelli hold on for this one remaining lap? This is superb. Morbidelli versus Terrier. Out they go. Under the bridge. Narrow through this tight bit. Now then, this is really the last chance for Terrier, surely. Morbidelli has to cover the inside here. Has to get it. Oh, he's pushed him. A little bit of contact. Terrier goes through. David Terrier has taken the lead from Jenny Morbidelli, and Terrier's going to win it. Terrier takes the checkered flag, and just that little bit of contact, and I don't think Morbidelli's too happy about it, but it was just a little touch, little bit of a nudge. And well, that's kart racing. That's the game. And Terrier is delighted. But what a superb race he drove. He just waited for the moment, waited for an opportunity. Just that little nudge. But it was because Morbidelli had lost time. He went in narrow and was slow into the first part of the corner. That was really what